So let's talk about this Clippers and Utah game. As we can see, this game right now hasn't ended. There are 28 seconds to go, but it's an extremely close game. This game has been a back and forth really between Laurie Markkinen and Paul George, both having 35 points at the moment that I'm seeing this right now. Right now it's 118 to 120. Paul George hit both free throws, and Jordan Clarkson just hit a huge three. Kawhi has the ball on Jordan Clarkson in the mid-range area. He gets it back. He gets 1 second. He shoots a three, and he doesn't make it. Russell Westbrook rebounds, shoots a turnaround mid-ranger. No. The Utah Jazz win it. Russell Westbrook got an offensive rebound, but when we see this game, and now to actually talk about the game, the game just ended. The Jazz won, from a Jordan Clarkson three in the fourth quarter, and basically he splashed it from deep. And what we can see from this game, from the Clippers, is they're going to be scary. It's obvious that the Utah Jazz got a lot more shots than the Clippers. Like, the Clippers shot 77 times, the Utah Jazz shot 96 times, and they shot 6 more times from three. But what we can see from these teams was that they both played hard. I want to say Paul George, shout out to him. He's been on a tear recently. If we actually look at his averages, before this game, we can see that he had been going crazy in the regular season. As in his first game, he dropped 27 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals on 67% from the field and 57% from three with 7 attempts. Of course, that's one game, but in this one, he did the same thing. He shot well from the field. He found himself in good positions, and he got 36 points, just being absolutely crucial. And in the final possession, he managed to get fouled. In the final Clippers scoring possession, he managed to get fouled, and he managed to make both free throws. For Kawhi, extremely efficient. Shout out to Kawhi. Even though he missed the game-winning shot, in my opinion, he should have gone for the layup, but he didn't, and they lost the game. For the Jazz, I want to say shout out to Laurie. He had 35 points, 12 rebounds, and he was efficient from the field. Jordan Clarkson, obviously the star of the show, had 10 points in the fourth quarter and then comes in to hit the three to save the game for the Utah Jazz and win them this game. Kelly Olynyk, a silent warrior, with 15 points and extremely efficiently. And in my opinion, the best, example of a guy who, was fired up this game was John Collins, who got 5 offensive rebounds. And when we look at this game, we see that offensive rebounds are really the most important thing to this game's outcome. The Utah Jazz got 19 offensive rebounds, right, with 28 rebounds in total. Out of 30 rebounds that the Clippers got, they got 6 offensive. So what we see from that is that they really prioritize, scoring and trying to get points up as opposed to, having a successful rebounding session and also from taking a good shot at the end of the game. I wanted to talk about this game because I believe that the Clippers are scary this year. I do not think that they're an actual contender, but I do believe that they can, if they want to, they can do something, They're one of the teams which always finds themselves in a comfortable position. And I think that they will, make themselves be a legitimate playoff team who could give another team troubles. For the Heat and Celtics game, I want to talk about this one too. Tyler Hero had 28 points. Bam had 27. And I just want to say that those two guys are carrying this team right now. As we saw from their first game, Bam has been going insane this season. And when we look at the Celtics winning, we see that that was just because in the fourth quarter the Heat sold. Now, what I do want to say is that Heat starting lineup is really good. Everyone in the starting lineup was either a plus person or a -1. But what we can see from the Heat is that their bench situation is critical. Most of the guys from their bench had negative minutes, and it caused them to lose this game. They were up most of the game. They had better quarters. And then finally, in the last quarter, when it really mattered the most, the Heat lost by 11, well, no, by 9 points. No, by 11 points, actually. 9 points to the Celtics. I do want to say shout out to Bam and shout out to this game, which was another one which I found very interesting. What Victor Wembanyama played today, he got his first win of all time, versus the Rockets. He was a pretty good game. He got the ball in crunch time a lot. And this really was what I thought his first game would be like. I want to say that he had none of his threes, but he did get 21 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 blocks. No, 2 steals, 3 blocks, and 1 assist. So what more can you ask for? In the Rockets' sake, I want to say shout out to that starting lineup. Jalen Green just went crazy with it. He was pretty good. He dropped 22 points. But Alperen Sengun dropped 25 points, 14 rebounds, and 7 assists with 6 offensive rebounds. That kid is going to be special. And in my opinion, if this season he gets the chance to really put himself out there the way that he should, he's going to be great. Dillon Brooks had a very good game, very effective, hitting a lot of his shots, scoring 17. And for the Rockets, even though they lost this game, I do feel like you're building a culture with better players. Jalen Green just needs to get some type of consistency in his jump shot, and I think that we'll start seeing more wins from the Rockets very soon. Today was the day of clutch games as Denver and Memphis finished 108 to 104. Jokic put on a show, and also a really big game from Luka Doncic and the Mavericks versus the Nets, where they put up a masterpiece, where Luka hit an impossible shot over a defender to basically win them the game, meanwhile scoring 49 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. Luka went crazy, scoring 9 for 14 from 3 and 16 of 25 from the field. It felt like he wasn't missing anything. And him really being this good was effective for his team. Also, I want to say shout out to Derek Lively because he dropped 9 points on 4 for 4 shooting. That kid is still playing incredibly. For the Nets, not really much to say apart from Cam Thomas is going crazy with the scoring and he's actually getting minutes. And finally, for the final clutch game of the day, we had the Raptors versus the Bulls, where, Scotty Barnes went crazy, had a phenomenal triple-double, very efficient, shot 50% from 3, 9 for 14 from the field. And Pascal Siakam, also had a pretty effective game. For the Bulls, it was DeRozan who dropped 33. Kobe White, which was inefficient, but he had a pretty good game, having 17 points and 8 assists. And obviously, we have to talk about their big man in the middle, which grabbed 12 rebounds. But I feel like the biggest thing for this game was the huge 3 that hit Alex Caruso to win them the game. I feel like that was a great win, and honestly, when we look at that game, we could see a real, clutch moment there as Caruso hit a game-winning 3. And what I feel like I learned from watching today's the basketball games that were played today, was that the games are going to be clutch this year. This season has already been extremely entertaining, as we've seen great matchups, and especially since the teams are coming out, we're seeing teams which have found finally how to build their team. Another thing that happens this season is that the players and the teams are getting so competitive that there's a lot of close games, right? Like today we had around 6 really close games which were decided by the final minutes of the fourth quarter, which are very important games, as we've seen clutch shots, Hail Marys, everything be used to the advantage today. And in my opinion, this NBA season is going to be entertaining and extremely fulfilling. But yeah, that's been it. That's what I think about today's games. And in my opinion, I really like today's round of basketball. I'll see you guys in the next video.